Being a responsible pet parent means making choices that keep them happy and healthy. Spaying or neutering is a key part of that.
So, what we're going to talk about today is starting a business at, do I dare say it, at an older age, or maybe I'll just say later in life. How's that?
That's kind of what it was. Later in life is a better phrase. Probably, I don't know. I don't know that it matters. Yeah, that's kind of it. That, I can tell the story, but you've already read about it, and thank you very much. Yeah, it was really simple. It was just such a simple start, but I'm very guided by God. I'm very guided by God, and that's going to be part of my story because I don't have another story. I didn't plan it. This was not in my mind, wasn't in my heart, wasn't in my thoughts, but I'm very naive when it comes to God. I just go about doing whatever gets put in front of me as though I'm just like a rag doll. Okay, all right, sounds like a great idea.
But I would imagine, starting a business, you had to have that confidence in yourself to do something like this. Or if not, maybe your children, like your son, gave that little nudge and said, Mom, you're a great resource and a lot of people come to you. You should start something. So you must have had some sort of,
I was already in the process of doing something like that and people coming to
yeah.
me, completely different line of work, but yeah. But he just said that. I responded like I wouldn't expect I would when I look back on it. And then he said something else, and God planted all this stuff in my head, in my heart. And as though it were true, I went out and started doing it. Like, well, yeah, that's what I'm doing now. I mean, really, I just get super naive. And it's not the first time. I think God enjoys me because of my reception of whatever he comes up with. And I've done a whole lot of things based on that. A whole lot of things.
You're all about faith.
Yeah, I guess, because I've seen it in action all my life.
Yeah. Faith is what I mean by this in this situation with the business is you let the faith in believing in trusting in God's will to direct you in where you're going to go. He's your guidance and almost like a guidance counselor, even in business, it sounds like.
All the way. But I don't think about it. It just comes and I go. It's not a thought, I think.
Hmm.
I'm just very receptive somehow. He's made me receptive.
Hmm.
Don't give it much thought. I just really don't. I can explain it in, as we talk, because that might not be what everybody does, but that's how I've become who I am, which is larger than I ever dreamed. That wasn't my plan. I didn't know what networking was. I didn't know what being an entrepreneur was. None of that was on my radar.
Well, so why don't you explain to us how Christ has helped you in the guidance of being this entrepreneur and starting and running this business? I think the audience wants to know, how am I going to tap into this? Because a lot of the folks that are my audience are in their 40s plus. So a lot of them are in that situation where they're trying to figure out, what is my purpose? What is my sense of purpose? What do I do? What's my duty? I want to start a business, but I don't know how. And I'll say, let's put it down the middle. 50% are going to be faith based and 50% are not. But we want to try to get the majority to understand how they're going to find that purpose and to start a business or find an idea. And we're looking to you for that guidance.
Well, I can tell you my story, and I can invite anybody to contact me. I haven't left counseling behind. I still am a counselor in my heart, but I do get to represent a lot of people that are really good at stuff like that too, and it makes me really happy considering I don't get to really tap into it like I mean that was full time. I mean that's what I did. So
Mm-hmm.
and so I've got a degree, guidance and counseling and education, was even helping friends and even in elementary school with boyfriends and all that kind of stuff. But I realized along the way that, golly, there's a degree that backs all this stuff up. So I wound up not going to school right away, became a single mom, and then went back to school. Not planning on graduating, not planning to get a degree, but I met friends, and friends said, "What are you going to take next year?" Because I just took speed reading or something to make me a faster, better, reader to my son or whatever it was. So I think in sailing or something crazy like that. But no, I met this friend that was saying, "What are you going to do next year?" And I'm going, "Well, I wasn't planning on doing more, but what are you doing?" She goes, "Oh, I'm going to government and this and that." And I was going, "Well, okay, I'll just go ahead and get that out of the way." And just because I wanted to hang out with her longer, and then, I was meeting all kinds of people. And so next thing I know, I've got an associate's degree, and I'm going, well, because it was a junior college, and I thought, well, I'd already gone to North Texas once originally, and that didn't work out. And because I wasn't focused, I just wasn't focused. I knew who I was, kind of, but I didn't know what that meant. And that could be something to think about as a listener today. I didn't know what it meant to be who I was, so there's that. So I went ahead and then went back to college and realized, or went back to North Texas, and there's this degree that kind of described who I was already, which made it really easy for me to slide right into another couple of years with people that I was with for those 2 years. It was called a block, and we, I guess, experiment on each other and trials, tribulations, whatever. And I don't even remember, but it was just so cool. I loved it. For the time I was out of school till 22 years ago when this thing fell in my lap, I was helping welfare women, giving them training and giving them child care, so that they could go and help elderly people in their homes. So elderly people and welfare people, and then training and child care. There's probably more in there, but those were the main points. My son had graduated from Baylor University, had started working for a guy in publishing. He started working for a publisher, broke away, immediately started his own, and came over here one day, my house, and said, "Mom, you ought to publish some advertising." Well, for me, since I can't imagine me answering the way that I did, I feel like God entered into the conversation before he even said that to me. Because what I said was, "I wonder who I'd advertise for," rather than saying, "I've got a career, why would I do that?" I didn't say that. I said, "Oh, I wonder who I'd advertise for." He said, "You know so many people." And moments after that he said that to me, I knew the name of my company, Connections Publishing, which of course makes sense. I'm connecting people. Portion of the proceeds are going to go to World Hunger, of course, and then by Heifer International, and then it's only going to be by referral. Why would I advertise for somebody that isn't dedicated to serving people? It's just not in my DNA. I'm taking care of friends. I'm taking care of family. Why would I send someone to my sister's house to help her with her air conditioning if they're only going to go there and try to scam her and make her buy a new system when she doesn't need one and she just needs a repair? I mean, all those things, I would never even do that. Anyway, of course it's only going to be by referral. And so I wasn't formulating ideas. I was just talking. I went out as though it was true, started talking to people I already knew that I trusted, described only an idea in my head. I didn't have anything to show them. No T's crossed, no I's dotted. They trusted me. They gave me money to publish this thing in my head. Then I had gone to an Office Max location where this guy in the print area was redesigning a PDF I'd given him for an event I was having. And he was so creative. I said, "Do you freelance to the side?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah." So he was my first designer. I mean, just everything, just kind of, I'd think of things along the way. And without ever looking at another publication or anything, because that I was on this journey and I didn't think about it. And so anyway, when we published the first one, he said, "Okay, now you need a website." And I said, "What for?" Nothing registered to me like that. And of course, I'm handing them out at the time I receive them to all my friends and family, neighbors, and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of how it started.
Let me interrupt and ask you then. It sounds like it's a lot about rapport building, um, especially initially when you're going to start something, and then also to maybe reach out to those that are closest to you to do something like this.
But I'm going to go back to, and you're right. That's the a good direction to go. But I didn't know anything except building relationships. That's in life, and the care and concern of these other people that I was taking care of. So it was just that's just kind of part of my DNA. It's also because I was trusted, and I felt like I've been fortunate to live a pretty reputable life that people still liked me. But I mean, I'm still friends with people I went to kindergarten with, and I've been in the same church all my life, chairperson of my graduating class. Moved away for a couple of years to California because we used to do the California thing in the day, and then, but here, and live out on a lake where I'm just really comfortable and get a lot of oxygen through trees, have a very peaceful life so I can think. But it's all about building relationships. I'm sorry, I'm going to get some water.
Sure, sure.
But
Yeah,
if
relationship building is very important.
you
Yes.
build relationships and you really have interest in what other people do, where they come from, what their background is, they become friends, whether it's in life or in business, and they appreciate it a whole lot. And therefore, you become a trusted person. And of course, anybody could ask me on anything. I had been married a couple of times, didn't work out. I've got a son and a daughter that had a son and a daughter, and they have happy families. And I'm a very happy grandmother and full of joy over the lives of these little kids. I did not have a grandparent when I was growing up. I came along late. I was the baby, and they were all gone. I've been realizing I had an aunt and uncle that kind of remind me of what maybe a grandparent might have been like. But anyway, it took me the first time I really didn't get it. My son had a daughter, and that's all I could really identify. But then I call them pandemic babies because got a 1 year old, 3 year old, 5 year old. Those are the pandemic babies. This first granddaughter's older, she's a teenager. But so I started really. I mean, I was there for all the births. I mean, I'm just right there, helping out as the night nurse or whatever I need to be doing. And so, um, just being in a relationship with even the guy that comes and takes care of our water situation out here. I mean, it's Joe, and you're asking me if I knew my neighbors. I know worker bees around here. Just because I say hello to everybody, or I'm walking my dog. I have 2 prayer walks a day, morning and night, with my dog. And gratitude is such a big, important part of life, and I think business as well. But as the business grew, I knew the blinders were on to meeting people with that only were interested in treating people with dignity and with respect, to be a person with integrity, and then they became a business person with integrity, because what you do in life or business, it's all the same.
So let me ask, how is it that someone would determine if someone has dignity or if they are true? I'll just use that word true because we have a lot of people who wear many different faces, and some of the people wear a face that is false, but they're putting on a front, so to speak. And how do you weave yourself through that to find these wonderful connections?
Well, I I don't know. I mean, I do know. I don't know that it's just common, but for me, you have to look at people as they are. Whatever they say, fine. But what does their face look like? Do they exude joy because they're telling you what they do and you can tell there's some passion about it? Or are they just telling you what they do? Well,
Hmm.
I'm looking for people that not only have integrity, but God just really did enlarge my tagline, and it reads like this: I'm looking for people with dignity and with integrity, that have to treat. I mean, it's just in their heart to treat people with dignity and with respect, on mission to make the world a better, safer, more peaceful place. And I share that with everybody I talk to. And if somebody asks me, well, who are you looking for? Well, I have a really bad answer for a lot of people, and that is, I'm looking for people with integrity. Because they want me to name a business type or a category of person I'm looking for. That's not what I'm looking for. I've even got a place on my website where people can apply to advertise, and they go, why don't you have pricing anywhere? And I said, because It matters who you are before it matters what the transaction's all about. So I'm very, very clear on my statements about where I'm going and what I'm doing. So that's another message, and that would be to be very, very clear on what inspires you, what matters to you in life, and what matters to me in life is that we are all safer and better and more peaceful. Those three things I say about those on mission. Well, and it could be for somebody else, those that have passion and joy in explaining to you who they are, what they do. I mean, I even want to know, like you and I are talking, Chuck, I wanted to know where you were. I wanted to know where you've been, what you've been doing, all that kind of stuff, because it lets me get to know you and see your smiling face and see your joy. And the thing is, it's not just trying to manipulate the situation. Like, my website has 15,000 hits, and he told me, my analytics friend said, and but it's got stickability like nobody else I've seen. And he said it's because of the way you built it through relationships. People trust you. They come there because they want to know that whoever they call on, you already know, you already have talked to, you already have experienced if I've needed somebody. But I mail out this as a reminder to people not to go to Google for help where everybody's going to say they're trustworthy, and we all know they're
Hmm.
not. I mail it out I mail it out a lot in Texas, a lot all over the United States, a lot in Canada, and several other countries as well, because I've built relationships once the pandemic hit. When we all went, a lot of us, I was local until I went global, and I was just, helping people around here and totally missing the fact that, I mean, I knew people all over the place, but I was missing the fact that web developers, designers, coaches could help people anywhere. But I didn't know about Zoom until there's just so many things I didn't know until I was forced into discovery. And then I was meeting people all over the world and running networking meetings. I didn't even know what that was in the first place when I first was invited by a chamber to go to a networking meeting and listen to everybody how they did, introduce themselves and what they did. And then when I pulled out the referral resource guide and I was telling them it's only by referral, only businesses with integrity, they were going, I've never heard of such a thing like that. And they started scattering them all over the table. And I was just kind of going, why would anybody advertise for somebody that wasn't dedicated to serving people and treating people with respect? So probably your readers or your listeners have dealt with people that did not treat them right. I hear stories nearly every day about from a friend of mine, a high school friend that was staying in town, at his sister's house, and he was telling me about some worker person that didn't come back to finish the job. And I said, don't tell me they paid them all everything before the job was finished. I said, don't tell me they did that. So, yeah, they did. And so there's just a lot of things that you have to hold people accountable. I had a guy the other day, yes, I want to advertise. And I'm going, okay. And so let's meet on Tuesday. Okay, well, ran out of time. That's this week. Couldn't get to this appointment with me. Okay. But I'll call you in the morning, 11 o'clock. Okay. Didn't get the call. I respectfully called. Left a message. I respectfully sent a couple of texts, and since then, that's the end of that. It's got to be proven. You can't just expect that people are going to, like you said, just put their best face forward. But if you pay attention, you can look through them rather than I want them to advertise with me so bad that you put up with bad behavior. Well, you don't put up with bad behavior from anybody. And that's just the kind of business I'm in. But I have been told by a couple of other friends in different businesses that if they have clients or they have people that want to be their clients that cannot treat them to the standard they need, that they fire them. They don't service them. And I get it. I mean, I haven't been in another business like that, but I suspect that if I had something, but when you have a purpose-filled something in your heart and you wind up converting it into a business in some way, that you don't want to put up with shenanigans. You want to put up
Yeah.
with honesty and truth, and you don't want to be desperate in what you're doing you might get in a tight spot, but at the same time, you don't want to compromise your integrity or your passion for what you're doing. Everything is not going to be easy just because this thing opened wide for me because I'm a follower when it comes to God in some ways. I mean, just take off
Like
with
you're
me.
saying just now, like you're saying, it's you need to be sure that who you bring into your circle of friends, family, or business associates, or whatever it might be, especially within your referral, that your name goes with them when you refer or when they say, Brenda referred me. Well, you don't want them to, like you were saying, the one gentleman, meet you on Tuesday, doesn't show up. I'll call you tomorrow, doesn't call. Well, then they're going to say, I thought Brenda said that she trusted this person. So I understand now why you're saying that rapport, and you personally in your business, you have spoken with and had a conversation and got to know the people before they advertise with you.
Uncompromising.
Uncompromising, great word. Yes, uncompromising.
You know, a perfect example, Chuck, is you and me. I can't remember who it was, but somebody introduced us on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
So, I
Her
mean,
name was Brenda as well.
what's that?
Her name was Brenda
Well,
as
that's
well.
right. That's right. Gosh, and not too many of us around. But you know, and you can get referrals from friends even if you're not asking. But you can actually ask because I didn't ask. I don't often, but once people get to know what I'm about and what I'm trying to accomplish in life, and again, is one of the key points I want to make here is that it doesn't have to happen out of college. I mean, I was on a track and I was glad for the track I was on, but it wasn't the last track I was supposed to be on. I went a completely, people say, how were you a counselor and now you're a publisher? And I go, well, if you think about my DNA, who I'm made of, and where I was going, it hadn't changed all that much. I just get to take care of a bigger picture, broader picture of everyone needing something, whether it's in business or healthcare or mental health, or I've got a specialty category. I'll show you real quick. I'm a whole lot easier show and tell, really, because I've been asked to make certain different types of categories and stuff, and so that's what I love about it. Well, there's the website, and you'll see interviews, you'll see all kinds of stuff, but here are a bunch of different categories, and then everybody's got a logo ad, and it pops, five more pop up every time you do it. And then what's in it for consumers? There's a flip guide like I had in my hands. And then that's where it says you can apply to advertise.
So
Then there's a few endorsements down there, but I'm going to show you two of my favorite pages.
So for the listeners who can't see this, what Brenda was just showing me now is her web page, her website. So she's just scrolling through there and giving us an example of what you're going to see when you go to the website. And once again, I'm going to let you guys know the website is called the referralresourceguide.com. So go there and you're going to be able to find out exactly what Brenda is showing us.
Honestly, for every wonderful thing that has happened because of kind of my faithfulness to my work. It's not a job. If you think about your work in the world and your purpose-filled heart and what matters to you, I mean, if you speak to somebody, that might be helpful too, to try and gain out of who you are, what it is your purpose is, or what you want your purpose to be, and how you want to make an impact in the world, or what your skill is. I mean, some people have skills that are more left brain kind of stuff, and I was not created that way. I have all this going on my right brain, but if you are filled with joy, then you're on the right track. If it really matters to you, you're on the right track. And if you're trying to impact somebody else's life and lift them up too, then you're on the right track. There's a lot of ways you can tell if you're on the right track. If you're confused or not sure or whatever, think about what lights you up inside and how that might have an impact on somebody else. And if it does, you're on the right track. Just keep thinking about these things that matter to you. Suddenly, to find the gratitude in what I do every day and how soft the leaves are outside on the colors and flowers, let alone a sunset. And I mean, there's joy in a breeze in Texas right now for me. Even a breeze. I don't even care how hot it is. A breeze is. I'm so grateful. So anyway, just find what works for you and just stay on that track. That's the best advice I've got. I didn't know who I was for the longest, and then to discover who I'd been all this time. And then, everything kind of started falling into place. So I live in gratitude. And
That word gratitude is very important for us as individuals, I think, is to have gratitude.
I'd love to help anybody. I mean, that would be a joy to me too, because I love to connect people to. I'd love to connect more, spend have more time to connect people to their passion. But I still do because I love that. And at the same time, my greater passion these days is taking the advertisers that I have, and there's I guess about 100 of them online. I don't even know anymore. I add more all the time, but to let them share their mission, their purpose, their vision, and their full page that's unlimited. It's not limited. They can do videos, pictures, whatever. But my greatest joy is to take these people that I promote and represent and connect them to the people that are hurting or need help so bad. That's where my joy comes in. I'm just real grateful that I got put in a position like this, and I believe that over time it was created. The foundation was started 22 years ago for such a time as this, the way things are in the world, the way things are in the United States, the way there's so much anger, upset, suicide, whatever it is. I want to help heal it all. And I know I say big picture stuff, but that's the way I feel. I want to help heal. And I don't want people to Google for help because they can always be misled. I just want them to listen to their heart, listen to, hook up with somebody that could help guide them. And I can be helpful. I can even direct people to anybody you might need that I know is not only qualified but cares deeply about that.
I want to say thank you for your kindness. And, this has been a wonderful conversation for me. And I hope the audience really feels the sincerity and the trueness coming from you, which I'm sure they will. And to understand that that is important in oneself and have that dignity and that pride as well. So I want to say thank you very much because you were an inspiration.
Thank you, Chuck. You're just so sweet and kind yourself. I have enjoyed getting to know you, and I'd love to get to know anybody else that I can help out. But yeah, please visit the website if you have interest. There's ways you can contact me in there too. So thank you so much, Chuck.